Good. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to Shoot the Shit episode 4. And today I've got Larry Cedar, who's the creature in the Twilight Zone movie, as well as it was in the Crazies and Deadwood. And literally, I think it's like 125 credits to your name on IMDb. And I'm at, man, like, you've been around in Hollywood forever.
I'm old.
You're old and you've done a lot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Man. So what have you been up to since the world has gone crazy?
Well, I have a series of one-man shows I've done over the years. I take, literature and writers I like and I adapt it into one-man shows. And I did one based on the works of George Orwell. I did one based on the works of Dostoevsky, and then one based on the works of Kafka. And those usually take me a lot of time. So since everything's shut down, I've been devoting all my energy to shooting a film version of one of them in my house. And then I'm starting to work on another one, another Kafka piece, which I'm going to film, depending on how long this craziness goes on, in my house, or I'll put it in a theater. So I've been kind of putting all my energy into that, although I did just have an audition for a TV show, first time in months. So things are starting back up.
Nice. So, doing all the literature stuff and people, is there anyone that you would absolutely love to play in a movie, or any character like that stands out that you're like, oh my god, I want to play that?
Yeah. They've kind of done it already, but anything Dostoevsky, any of the lead characters in Dostoevsky or Orwell. Winston Smith is the lead character in 1984, the book 1984. I've heard it mentioned. I'd love to play him. I'm a little too old to play him now, but like Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky's piece, I could play the police detective who's after the lead guy. Kafka, I'd love to do the trial. I'd love to do Metamorphosis, any of that stuff. I like the kind of dark, well, it's the same reason I like horror films. I like the kind of dark stuff. It appeals to me, and I have this mad obsession with memorizing huge quantities of words. So I do these hour and a half shows, and I spend a lot of time memorizing material, then rehearsing it with my wife, who's my main director. So yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd like to get back into some more horror, man. I really enjoy it. The stuff I've done is just a blast, especially like the Crazies, Twilight Zone. It's just a special vibe on the set. It's believe it or not, it's one of the more fun atmospheres to work in. Something about working in horror where everyone knows it's supposed to be really scary and terrifying, and so because of that, to counter that, the atmosphere is just kind of playful and fun, and we just like scaring the shit out of people. It's great stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And like a classic story that was brought to life in film. I mean, with John Lithgow. I mean, and
yeah.
that I absolutely love that movie. I love anthology horror movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have a personal opinion about the one story with the tragedy in it, and
right.
But I mean, because I really didn't know much about that until I saw the Shudder episode of Cursed Films, and I mean, like I knew of it, but I didn't know about the whole cast and crew and stuff like that. Going like, we shouldn't have produced it, we shouldn't have done it, and
yeah,
I didn't really know much about that aspect of stuff. But going into like everything else in that movie is absolute gold. Like horrible.
Yeah. I felt really lucky. I've had some really lucky breaks in my career that have led me to some great projects. Deadwood being one, Twilight Zone being another. Twilight Zone, I just stumbled into. I had never done a horror film before like that. I used to do a lot of dance in college, so I was very good at movement. The way I got the audition is they wanted people who could move well to show that you could be this creature on this wing. So I just got out of college not too long before, and I was still taking dance classes and stuff. I was still pretty agile, and they needed people who could move well to come in and do this audition for the Twilight Zone. I always was a huge fan of the series, the TV series. Every time like Thanksgiving would roll around or Christmas, they'd have the marathons, and sit and watch it all. Freaking loved it. So I was real excited. I knew of the episode. I knew that it was starring William Shatner, the original. I did not know John Lithgow was. I was brought in. There was George Miller in the room. All they had was a bunch of tables set up. They asked me to run around the tables, acting crazy like I was this creature, like I was going on a plane. That's all they did. They just said, do what you would do on set. So I did that. I had just heard that Vic Morrow tragedy had occurred very recently, and I thought they were going to shut the film down. but they weren't, and they were very freaked out about me getting hurt in the audition. They didn't want any more bad press. So once I started doing it, and I kind of went for it, I said, okay, that's good, that's good. And next thing I knew, I had the role. I had no idea what was going to be expected of me. I had no idea John Lithgow was in it. I said, job, just a job. The minute I got down there, I said, okay, this is special. There's something going on here. So obviously, it's spending a lot of money on this huge ring set up with hydraulics, with a giant pit built into the stage. And this thing was on hydraulics, up and down. And they were going to hang me from a wire. And they had this incredible costume made by Craig. And I met John Lithgow. And I said, there's something crazy going on here. This is special. And just kind of dove in. Did a full body cast, full body makeup, which was pretty comfortable until the first day of shooting. And it got soaked with water and pretty much quadrupled in weight. It just became a giant sponge. So the whole thing was physically challenging, but very thrilling, very exhilarating. They were very nervous about anybody getting hurt because they decided to continue the movie. They had stunt guys there. They had cushions everywhere in case I fell. They were really careful. The main thing about it for me was, I think John Lithgow may be the biggest star I've ever worked with, and he was awesome. His energy on set. He was such a committed actor, and he gave it his all. And it's just, you know, when you work with great people, it makes everybody better. And I felt uplifted by him. And of course, George Miller was just kind of getting started. He had done the Mad Max, the first one. He hadn't done any giant sequels. So it's just exciting. It's really exciting.
So, do you know of any remakes or like not remakes, but reproduction of the movie coming out anytime soon? Because
not the movie, but you know they have a TV series now.
Yeah, I saw it with Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Very talented guy.
Yeah, his movies are on point for everything, and I mean, he's a great horror director and funny guy too. So I mean,
yeah. Did you see what's the last one he did? Was it Us?
Us, yeah.
Did you like that film?
I did.
Me too.
I liked Us and
me too.
The other one, crap.
Get Out.
Yeah.
I think that guy has, you know, people think like, I want to make a film, I want to do a cheap film, I haven't got a lot of money, so I'll do a horror film. Because horror films are easy. That's what people think. But man, you either got it or you don't. The difference between just throwing a bunch of blood on the screen and a bunch of blades, people's heads getting chopped off and all that stuff, which is just, you know, just a big, huge mess, bloody mess. And someone like Peele who can literally create dread in you, terrified. I mean, that world he created in Us, that other world, I was so freaked out when I realized that she was the girl, that she'd been switched. Man, I still get a chill when I think about it. There's very few movies that I'll watch like 2 or 3 times. I got a handful of them that I've seen probably 10 different times, just because I never, you know, Goodfellas. Never get tired of Goodfellas. Never get tired of most of the Scorsese stuff. I'll never get tired of Shining. There's just certain horror films, and this is one of them. Us is one of them. Keep watching it now, you know, because it's like The Sixth Sense. Once you know the ending, you want to watch it all again to see it from the point of view where now I know what was going on, and it's just rich. The guy's a genius. He's unbelievable, unbelievable. His eye for it's unbelievable.
I can't wait till his version of Candyman comes out next month.
Oh,
I mean, it's gonna be crazy.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? This guy was doing comedy sketches, great, brilliant comedy sketches. Who would have known that this guy had this eye for horror? You know, and it's a special, like I said, it's a special skill. It's a special ability, you know. So I love it. When it's great, man.
Yeah, definitely. No, because I mean, one thing I was looking for was a copy of the Twilight Zone movie on Blu-ray, and there's nothing. Like
really,
there's one. I found one French copy of the DVD, and that was it. And that still was like $30 or $40 for that one copy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I won't get into detail, but you know, I think you understand as well as I do. There were certain problems with the film. It didn't quite sail all the time. You wanted it to. I wanted it so bad, but you know, people don't understand how difficult and complicated what Rod Serling did was. What a genius that guy was. How he wasn't just creating creepy stories. He was somehow seeing into the human soul, our greatest fears and anxieties. He tapped into that, and that's what made them so compelling. I mean, you had William Shatner on a plane with basically the same special effects they used in all their monsters in Twilight Zone. That turned up nose, that creature, that. There wasn't that anything scary about it, but he created this sense of the dread we all have on planes, you know, and just got it. Just got it.
I mean, that's why I love the anthologies, like the Creep Show ones,
Yeah.
Tales from the Hood. I mean, they get to you. Like they have, like they make you feel for the characters, and
yeah,
like that's why I love anthologies more. Like they're some of my favorite horror movies, just because it's always those ones that are like it's a different story, and it's like it always leaves you wanting more, and like it kind of satisfies you at the same time. You're just like, oh wow,
yeah. There's a series, I think it's on HBO, called Room 102 or Room. Have you heard of this one? Oh man, you got to see this. Okay, so it's like a Twilight Zone thing, and every episode takes place in the same hotel room. Somebody comes into that room, and there's something weird that happens in that room. And I only saw a few of them, to be perfectly honest, because my wife was really freaked out. She wouldn't watch any. So I got to sneak on the side. But that to me, talk about anthology, that's a great concept. It's the same room. Something creepy happens in every and it's good. It's really good. I check it out. I think it's room 103 or something. Check it out on HBO.
I will. I was gonna say my wife is the same way. She's very empathic, and any kind of screaming and stuff like that, like I have to have earbuds in while I'm watching, or my old man headphones that cover my ears so I can drown it out while she's working. And
so if you don't mind my asking, because we never met before, I'm curious. Yeah. You've been in the horror kind of interest field for how many years?
God. So I have a very interesting story on what really got me into horror and what terrified me.
Yeah.
So back in like the early 90s, late 80s, when HBO and Cinemax used to do like the free preview weekend, like on Labor Day or whatever, I was 8 or 9, I'm 7 or 8, I can't remember. I just remember the thing. I got up at like 1 in the morning, went and turned it on, and Sleepaway Camp was on.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch the full movie. I watched like the last like half an hour or so, and my 7 or 8 year old mind couldn't understand why that girl had a penis, and I'm like, oh my god, why? And it absolutely like terrified me. And I told Melissa Rose that when I met her at one of the cons a few years ago, and she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it built something in me to be like, oh my god, I want to search this feeling out more. Then I did my first episode of Shoot the Shit. I did it with Andre Gower from Monster Squad, and I told him, like, your movie was a gateway for my generation to fall in love with the original Universal monsters as like this neighborhood kids that are fighting monsters, and like it was a gateway for so many people into horror.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but ever since then, man, I've had my ups and downs in it, and where I'm a chef, so I don't have much time. But so I'm cooking family, and I get a little bit of time every once in a while. But actually, I was let go from my job in March
because of COVID.
Yeah.
Shoot, sorry.
So my wife goes. She just looked at me in March. She goes, "What is your passion? Like, what do you love to do? What will not feel like work?" And I'm like, drinking beer and watching horror. And she goes, oh, okay. I'm like, no, really, like, I want to like drink beer and watch horror movies. Like,
yeah.
So it grew. Like, I had this idea, like, to do the interviews before this, and so I started reaching out to people and getting them going, and we started doing trivia nights now, and like we'll do them live, and we started doing a live outing at a brewery here in Louisville. Where we'll do a movie, we'll do trivia, we have a food truck, and get some awesome beer.
It just occurred to me, because you're a chef and you like beer, you should throw in some beer reviews, get some beer sponsors,
So here, I don't want to be biased to beer companies, so I'm trying to find like the beer store that has 500, 600 different kinds of beer in it, they'll sponsor me and be like, here you go. Here's this one. Or this. Like I'm all for getting sponsored for stuff. And
yeah.
Especially
and you could have giveaways. You could have like giveaway 6-packs and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of a great connection. I mean, it's a really great concept, you know? Yeah.
But that's where I'm at. But I just started work again, cooking. So I'm divvying up my time now. I'm like,
sure.
I got, if I'm going to do this, I'm still going to do this.
Sure.
I kind of want to retire out of the restaurant business. I mean, that was one thing for me. This whole time being off, getting time to spend with my kids and my wife, and I'm like, I don't want to spend 80 hours in a kitchen anymore. Like I'd rather do something fun and have my family around. So,
I'll tell you the truth. I think everybody across the board in every profession is looking at their life and saying, what do I really want to do with my life? I'm doing it. Everyone's doing it because either our profession's been, you know, we've had it cut out from under us, or there's all kinds of weird restrictions. And we're all kind of going, well, if I can't do this, what do I want to do? Like you're doing. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm thinking about what would I do if I couldn't act anymore? Now I'm hoping I still can act because I love to act. But you start thinking about that kind of stuff, and why not? I'm curious. Do you specialize in a certain kind of cuisine, or just general chef?
Actually, I'm a line cook now. I didn't want the whole managerial aspect anymore to it.
Sure.
So I'm just cooking food, but I love doing Eastern European, German food.
Wow, cool.
And like traditional Mexican street food. Like it's a
yeah. That sounds great. It sounds great. And maybe get yourself a truck, you know?
I don't want to see, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to put more time into I put almost around 20 years into it, and my body is destroyed. Like I kept on telling my mom, I'm like, I gotta get my body back in shape to cook again.
It's pretty physically demanding. It's pretty demanding. Well, you're on your feet, like, you know, on nonstop. And
but it's fun. I love doing it and I love cooking. But a new door has opened up, and I see it as I'm gonna go this way and see what happens. And
well, yeah, I mean, when you first told me, when I first heard from Sarah about the name of your show and everything, it's the first thing that popped in my mind. I said, oh, this is cool. It's a tie-in. It's a product he loves, tied in with a form of entertainment he loves, and combination of two. You know, like I said, I don't drink it much anymore, but I love it. I always loved it. But I think you have there's a huge following there. It's great. Sounds really good. And you're a chef. So you've got credibility in terms of, you know, food and critiquing food and things like that. I think it's dynamite. I think it's great. Wish you best of luck.
Thank you. So let's talk about the Crazies. I mean, the 2000s for horror movies, at least to me, there's a handful that stuck out more than others.
Yeah.
The Crazies was one of them. And I absolutely loved that movie. It was fantastic. So, tell me about like your take on everything. And
I'll tell you this right off the bat, because I came and went. I was in some scenes, and then in Iowa, they shot in Iowa, and then I'd leave, and then I'd come back. So I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but on a set, the makeup trailer is kind of like the National Enquirer set. All the gossip happens in the makeup trailer. Makeup guys, the hair people, they all know everything that's going on. There's like a grapevine on the set. Things are going bad, things are going good. Who's a troublemaker? Who's great? All the stuff is happening. So you come into the trailer, and you start to hear what's happening. What's the vibe? What's going on? And every film can go south. Every film can just, moment's notice, everything goes bad. They come in over budget, and the actors are in the ass. It can go terrible. You're always afraid of that. It can go the other way too. It can be like fantastic. Everything's clicking. You just don't know. Well, in this particular case, I came onto the set, and everyone was talking about how bad the film was going, and how the director didn't know what he was doing, and budget, all this kind of stuff. And this was Eisner's, Breck Eisner, Jeffrey Eisner's son. I thought he was fine. I liked him, but I didn't know. So I thought, oh God, things are in trouble. So there was that kind of weird vibe going on. At the same time, the scenes themselves felt really energized. Great cast. Timothy Olyphant, who had worked with the Deadwood. Great guy, great actor. The concept. So the scene work itself felt really good. But the sense I was getting was, who knows what's going to happen in this film. Now, as it turned out, the film came out great. I mean, it really had a great sense of dread. And I thought the director did a great job. I thought his timing, his editing, stuff that makes you jump, all that stuff right there. So, and I had a great time because I love playing zombies, shit like that. And I got bloodied up, and I got to put a pitchfork through a few people, and had a lot of fun. So for me, it was a blast. It was really great, and we're always happy when you do a film and it does well and people like it and it's seen. And a lot of projects just never got seen. Some of them I thought were excellent. I just don't know. This one made it out there. It got there, it did well, and I think it's still holding its own. It's still something they're like. So, but yeah, I was covered with blood for a good part of the film. But, I love that pitchfork scene, man.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love going into another world. One of the things I like about acting, one of the things I love about acting, maybe the main reason is because I say it's like a time machine, transported into another universe. You would never ordinarily exist. So I was put into this world where the world had gone crazy. I lost my mind. I went to a hospital for a pitchfork. It's just a nightmare. Like you're living this kind of this altered universe, and you get into it as an actor, you really feel like you're there. So I had a terrific. Everyone there seemed to again be into the spirit of the fun of it. Just wondered what I was hearing if the thing was even going to be finished. Chaos. Also got to go to Iowa, which I'd never been to. Beautiful state, beautiful state. It rained on harder than I even knew was possible. I got hot rains from there. I didn't know it rained. I guess they get tornadoes there too. So we all had to like read a little pamphlet on what to do. You get some of that there, don't you? In
yeah, no, I mean, I haven't seen much. So we moved up from Nashville after like at the beginning of March, and we had, like every storm. It's just like Nashville. Like it seems like it follows the river, then it hits Louisville, then it splits. Either goes north or south, and we don't get squat. Like we'll get a little bit of rain here and there, but nothing really that bad.
Yeah. Well, you get weather out there. That's the thing. We don't get any weather out here. We get like, it's the same all day long. It's our freezing winters get down into the 50s. We're just like, oh my God. Then it gets, now we just had a heat wave. You guys get pretty hot there. But we got up to like 120 last weekend. That's rarely happens. But then it's over. So it's pretty mild here. But I got a friend who lives in Kentucky. He works on a newspaper. He's a press photographer, Gary Netzley. We were on the sports together in high school. And he loves it. He loves it.
I mean, I absolutely love it here. Nashville got a little too big for my liking. My wife. We wanted something a little more independent, a little more like more relaxed. So
sure.
Other than everything that's been going on, has been really good. It's a beautiful little area.
Yeah. Now, do you know
South India?
Do you know anybody who got COVID? Have you had any personal?
No, I have no personal contact with anyone that got it. But we're like I'm doing the whole mask thing. We've done it since the beginning, just because our baby was immune compromised like a month after she was born. And,
okay.
Like we're not going to take any kind of chance at all.
Good.
Pretty much my wife, my son, and my daughter stayed home the whole time. Like we went walking around the neighborhood and stuff like that. But they're finally getting out and venturing out. Like I took my son to the grocery store like the other day for the first time in like 6 months, and he's just like, "Oh my God!" He's 6 and he's running down the aisle. Like, ah!
Well, when this thing first started, my wife would bring home groceries, like 4, 5, 6 bags, because she's really trying to stock up so we'd have to go out again. And we would wipe everything down. We would throw it. I mean, we were so careful. Today, she brought home 4 bags of groceries and just took it out and stuck it in the refrigerator. So I don't know if we're just getting lazy or if the threat is lower. I get the feeling when I drive around the valley, San Fernando Valley, which is like the north part of the LA where I live, there's this one main thoroughfare, Ventura Boulevard, and all the restaurants have built these outdoor cafes. That's what everyone's doing now, right? And they are jammed. People are going out. So people are lowering their guard. I don't know if that's unwise, but there's a change, so we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, seasons are turning here, and we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. By the way, I love Deadwood too. I love
Thank you, man.
Deadwood.
Thank you.
I love westerns as well.
Yeah.
So if you can find a western horror movie, then that would be.
Well, just the other day I was flipping around and I saw Cowboys and Aliens, and I never saw the whole thing. I saw a little bit of it. It's kind of a strange hybrid, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of works but doesn't work. It's almost like two different, you know.
Yeah.
But I taped it, so I'll watch the rest of it. I like Daniel Craig, you know, so I'll give it a shot. But there you go, you know, horror and.
I was gonna say, have you seen Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell?
What's it called again?
Bone Tomahawk.
I've heard of it.
You need to check that one out.
Let me write it down.
It's got a decent amount of gore to it. It's got like that really hard Western feel to it, and
yeah,
it's really good.
I'll check it out. I like Kurt Russell. He's always good.
Yeah.
But I got to say, the Hateful Eight didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's a whole other genre of action Tarantino films that I'm not a big fan of Tarantino stuff, other than Reservoir Dogs. I absolutely love Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
Django was really good, but Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill, that stuff didn't really do it for me.
No. I think there has to be, and I'm talking as an actor now, an emotional underpinning to the story. If it starts to get just violent for violence sake, it's boring. If there's some emotional underpinning, you understand the characters and where they're coming from, and you have some investment in those characters, then it holds your interest, and the horror is terrifying. That's why it's so great when you get, like in the Crazy, someone like Timothy Olyphant, so sympathetic. You like him so much. You're invested in what happens to him, so it makes the horror scary. So I've done some really crappy horror films. I had a good time, but
I didn't bring it up.
I don't mind. There's not a job I've done that on some level I didn't enjoy just because I'm always happy to be working. I'm very happy to work as an actor. The only time I really don't enjoy myself in a job is if I'm surrounded by assholes. It's very rare, but you do get on a job where there's just a bunch of people who are just, for whatever reason, just problematic. And it's just not fun. It's just no fun. But like I did Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah,
Ginger Dead Man. Yeah. So that's.
Well, I personally like really campy, cheesy, bad horror movies. So that one, I thought that one was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but it's a genre. And who's the guy that makes those films? He's made like what, 400 films?
Oh, Lloyd Kaufman?
No, what's his name?
The Trauma films?
Yeah, but the guy who directs them all, his dad did it.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Lloyd Kaufman.
Oh, maybe it is. Anyways, the story with this guy was, I heard it while I was on the set, there's all kinds of stories going around, is he would come up with a poster. This is how he made a movie. A poster with a concept, and it'd be like Ginger Dead Man, show a gingerbread man like with a knife, okay? And he'd take the poster to these Asian markets, and he'd say, here's the movie I'm going to make. And they'd give him X amount of dollars to just make the movie based on the poster, just the poster. So he would go out and shoot this movie in a week. I mean, one take. If you got it anywhere close to decent, moving on. So I can get into that. I can get into it. And it's just kind of weird. You have to adjust your expectations and your performance and your attitude on every job. On every job, there's a different kind of vibe. And on that particular set, I said, okay, there's no money. No one's making much money, but you're making a movie and there's a camera in front of me, so let's go. You know, so like I said, generally speaking, I just like making movies. I like being on screen. I like working with actors. I like getting into stories. It's just, to me, it's really fun. You know, so I've been lucky. I've worked with a lot of really terrific people.
So, one question I've asked pretty much everyone I've interviewed: is there any prop or memorabilia you've taken from any of your jobs, like that you were like, oh my god, I need to take this and keep this, and like kind of display it a little bit, or?
Well, I'm not a huge memorabilia. Oddly, I mean, I'm in the movie business, but now my wife, she has an eBay store. She loves stuff. She loves collecting it. She likes finding out the history of it, the provenance, I guess they call it. She loves that. I'm the opposite. I don't get into props, but there's a couple that stand out. The pitchfork from the Crazies. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having that. Deadwood. It's a funny thing about Deadwood. My character Leon was an opium addict, and you know, you never could tell whether he was dangerous or harmless or what his story was. A lot of times, develop the details. But I bought a knife, which I always carried with me in every scene, because I figured this guy's kind of squirrely. He's skinny. He's incredibly dead. He's an opium addict, but he's crafty. And it was a dangerous town. And I figured Leon always knew that if anything was to threaten him, he always had that knife, and he could take care of himself. Sure, on many occasions he had to defend himself, and maybe killed someone. But he didn't look like a threatening guy, but he just carried that damn knife. And no one understood why I carried it around with me. But I insisted I couldn't start my day or be in myself until I had that knife. That was my secret. That's what made me happy every day without dying. So that knife means a lot to me. If a prop I've used is somehow intertwined with the character, if it's an essential part of the character, that makes it. Just trying to think what else I've done. I mean, you didn't have anything in the Twilight Zone. Let's see what else. Crazies had the pitch. Yeah, that's the two main ones. But particularly that Leon thing. That character got under my skin. I carried that guy around with me for 2 years after I finished that show. I just got so into it. So anything associated with him from that show, still feel it. The deeper you're into the character, the more it stays with you, the longer it stays with you.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite character you have portrayed?
Leon, no question. No question. You know, and it has a lot to do with the fact that I did it for 3 years. You know, TV happens fast. Film happens fast. You get your script, you show up, you rehearse the scene maybe once or twice, shoot the scene. Depending if it's a movie or TV, you shoot the scene in either 2 hours, or if it's a film, 4 hours. You know, it depends. But that's it. You're done. You do a play. You know, you run in a play for 6 weeks, then you get a chance to really get a character. If you're in a character for 3 years, and it's a good show, where you have a good costume, you have good lights, great directors, great actors, it just becomes a part of it. It's what I live for. That's why I do this, because I want to have different characters. And that's what happened. 3 years, absolute bliss. Best actors, best set, best directors, and best writing. So yeah, Leon's the guy.
All right, man. I'm good. Thank you very much for shooting the shit with me, man.
Yeah.
If we're ever at a con together, I'm guessing I'll buy you a root beer or a ginger ale or something like that, and I'll be
Fantastic. Fantastic. And send me links to whatever you got going on, particularly this interview, and I'd be happy to share it on the socials and all that stuff, because I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, will do.
All right, man.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.